The man in front of him is called Shen Lian. He joined the Jin Yiwei at the age of 16 and inherited his father's position of 100 households at the age of 20. He eliminated countless treacherous officials and rebels for the court. But what made Shen Lian helpless was that, as the general flag of the Northern Pacification Division, his annual salary was only 20 grams of silver. He watched his beloved being forced to work every day, and Shen Lian felt distressed. He wanted to redeem her, but where would the sky-high redemption fee come from? Not only did he lack money, but his two sworn brothers were even more short of money. Shen Lian's sworn brother Lu Jianxing used all his merits and wages to please his superiors, and he only wanted to get promoted. But he suffered from too little salary and not enough management. He worked hard for more than 10 years, and now the older he got, the less hope he had. He thought about getting a chance to turn things around all day long. Jin Yichuan suffered from lung cancer, and almost all his money was spent on medical treatment. He was a wanted bandit by the court, but he accidentally killed a Jin Yiwei and had to impersonate someone else. However, this incident was accidentally discovered by his senior brother, who was also a bandit. The senior brother often blackmailed Jin Yichuan. In general, each of the three brothers has his own skills, but they are all worried about money at the same time. Until this day, they finally got the chance. Zhao Jingzhong, the governor of the East Factory, suddenly came to the Northern Pacification Office. He specifically asked the three of them to handle a major case, hunting down the rebel Wei Zhongxian. They were already poor, and now a great opportunity was delivered to their door. How could the three brothers refuse? They immediately rushed to the inn where Wei Zhongxian was hiding. But they didn't know that they had become pawns of the court. Just when Shen Lian was about to seek support, Lu Jianxing stopped him. That's right, they wanted to take all the credit for this time. The three of them hit it off and took action immediately. Jin Yichuan quietly knocked down the guard on the roof, but at this moment, a flash of lightning streaked through the night sky, reflecting the shadows of the three of them. Their whereabouts were instantly exposed, and countless black-clad assassins swarmed in. Seeing this, the three of them simply fought back. After they took off their cloaks, their embroidered spring knives were already unsheathed. The yard was suddenly filled with swords and shadows, and screams resounded through the night sky. The enemies fell one after another, but even though the three of them were highly skilled in martial arts, they were still somewhat powerless in the face of the influx of assassins. Under the desperate cover of Lu Jianxing and Jin Yichuan, Shen Lian took the opportunity to break into the study. At this time, Wei Zhongxian was not panicked at all. Even though he was held at the neck by a knife, he was still playing with the pure gold dice in his hand. Now the Ming Dynasty was in internal and external troubles, and the treasury was empty. The emperor wanted to assassinate Wei Zhongxian, just to take his wealth for himself. As a powerful eunuch, Wei Zhongxian had a very thorough understanding of human nature. He immediately waved his hand, and the gold covering the entire table came into view. At this time, Shen Lian hesitated, but despite this, he did not dare to ask for the money casually, because if the matter was found out, none of the three brothers would be able to escape. Just when Shen Lian was having trouble making up his mind, the book boy next to him suddenly attacked with a knife. Fortunately, Shen Lian reacted quickly and knocked him down with one move. Wei Zhongxian, however, was still not panicked. Facing the extremely cunning Wei Zhongxian, Shen Lian decided to take a gamble. At this moment, the two brothers outside the house had been covered with wounds after a fierce battle. Just when the killers were about to kill them all, Wei Zhongxian's token fell, and everyone who knew that the situation was hopeless had to put down their weapons. The next day, the three brothers took Wei Zhongxian back to the capital to report. After the new Prime Minister Han opened the coffin, he found that there was a charred corpse inside, and it was impossible to recognize the face. Just when he was full of doubts, Lu Jianxing quickly handed over the waist card as a witness. However, the body was burned beyond recognition, but the knot on the waist card was intact, which made Zhao Jingzhong notice something strange. Just when he reached out to take the waist card, he instantly understood everything. Wei Zhongxian had entered the palace since he was a child. How could he have an Adam's apple? But Zhao Jingzhong did not expose it on the spot, because he knew in his heart that his own adoptive father Wei Zhongxian was not dead. Now that they had money, Shen Lian immediately took Jin Yichuan to see a doctor. In the clinic, Jin Yichuan's eyes were always fixed on the boss's daughter. It was obvious that the two of them had been in love for a long time. When they parted, the girl also gave him a medicine bag. This scene made Shen Lian feel mixed emotions. But at this time, he would never have thought that Zhao Jingzhong had found Wei Zhongxian's hiding place. When they met, Zhao Jingzhong immediately stepped forward to salute. Then Wei Zhongxian told him what happened that night. Because Shen Lian took his gold, he was able to hide it from the world. Now no one else knows the truth. And Zhao Jingzhong was so eager to let his adoptive father leave, because he was afraid that the emperor would thoroughly investigate the eunuch party and implicate himself. Both of them were cunning people, and Wei Zhongxian had already made a good plan. He tried to let the East Factory and the Jin Yiwei kill each other, and he would reap the benefits. On the other side, after getting the money, Shen Lian did not tell his two brothers. That night, he sneaked into the Nuangxiang pavilion and planned to redeem his sweetheart immediately. But what greeted him was not his sweetheart, Miao Tong, but a bolt from the blue. Shen Lian heard the conversation between Miao Tong and her lover, and then he suddenly realized that all this was just his wishful thinking. So Shen Lian climbed out of the window and left in despair. However, just as the three brothers were drinking to drown their sorrows, there was a sudden movement on the roof. After they noticed the abnormality, they immediately rushed out of the room. The man in black knew that he had been exposed, so he quickly climbed over the wall to escape, but he was still pierced in the palm by the crossbow arrow shot by Shen Lian. At this time, Shen Lian also vaguely felt that the sequelae of letting Wei Zhongxian go came. He proposed to his two brothers to temporarily leave the capital and transfer to Nanjing for a post. But Lu Jianxing was unwilling to give up his achievements in the capital, and he refused to agree no matter what. He was also very confused. Who wanted to assassinate them? The man in black was Zhao Jingzhong. Seeing that the assassination failed, Zhao Jingzhong came up with another plan. The next day, the Fat Commander led a team to capture Yan Peiwei, the head of the Golden Sword sect. But when they arrived outside the mansion, the fat man waited and waited, but didn't rush in, and he also put on an expression that it was none of his business. At this moment, Shen Lian also noticed the clues, and he told the two brothers to wait and see. Seeing that they were unmoved, the fat man simply gave an order directly and asked the three brothers to lead the team to arrest people. As expected, the house was indeed surrounded by swordsmen from the Yan mansion. When they saw the Jin Yiwei coming to the door, the swordsmen turned around and took out their weapons. When the two sides were about to draw their swords, Yan Peiwei came out and stopped everyone. Yan Peiwei did not collude with the rebels, so he was not afraid, so he agreed to go back to the government office for interrogation. But at this moment, a hidden arrow suddenly flew out from outside the house and shot Yan Peiwei on the spot. When the two sides were fighting, Shen Lian immediately sent a signal, but the fat man outside the door pretended to turn a blind eye and even ordered people to lock the door. Fortunately, the three of them were very skilled in martial arts, and they fought their way out. When the fat man saw that Shen Lian and the other two wanted to escape, he actually asked his men to hold the gate tightly with a carriage. Seeing that there was no hope of rescue, the three of them could only fight to the death in order to exchange for a glimmer of life. At this time, a large number of arrows attacked, and they kept shooting into the courtyard. For a while, blood and flesh flew everywhere, and the swordsmen took the opportunity to lock them with iron chains, and then swung their swords one after another, and they would be killed on the spot if they were not careful. Even though the three of them were top masters, they could not stand up to the wolves, and soon they seemed powerless. They entangled together, and the bloodthirsty Master Yan aimed at Jin Yichuan, who was suffering from tuberculosis. Just when he was about to kill him with a knife, Shen Lian suddenly rushed out from the side, and Shen Lian cut off his arm with a knife. Zhao Jingzhong, who was outside the door, finished his tea leisurely. When he was about to open the door to check, he was shocked by the scene in front of him. The three brothers, who were at the end of their strength, actually killed all the 100 swordsmen in Yan Mansion. 2 fists cannot beat 4 hands. This saying obviously does not work for them. The fat man on the side was dumbfounded. After the action, the fat man returned to the room in a state of shock. He felt a chill on his back. The next second, Shen Lian appeared in front of him with a cold face. Shen Lian put the knife on the fat man's neck and took out 300 grams of gold to bribe him, asking him to promote Lu Jianxing to 100 households. As expected, Lord Han hosted a banquet to entertain the three brothers that night, and he immediately announced that Lu Jianxing was promoted to 100 households. But Shen Lian knew that the fat man would go back on his word. Unexpectedly, Lord Han questioned him at this moment, and Lu Jianxing hesitated and didn't know how to explain. The next second, Lord Han immediately announced that the coffin would be opened again for autopsy in 3 days. On the way back, Jin Yichuan accidentally saw the scar on Zhao Jingzhong's hand, but he never expected that this would bring him a fatal disaster. Then, Zhao Jingzhong found Jin Yichuan's senior brother Ding Shu. This man was insidious and cunning, and his martial arts were even more unfathomable. On the other hand, Lu Jianxing, who returned home, immediately asked about the purchase of officials. The two brothers fought for this, and Jin Yichuan was kicked by the out-of-control Lu Jianxing and vomited blood. Until this time, Shen Lian finally revealed the truth. He had divided the money into 3 parts, one for Lu Jianxing, one for Jin Yichuan, and one for Miao Tong. Whatever choice he made was up to Lu Jianxing. At this time, Jin Yichuan also told his eldest brother about his discovery that it was Zhao Jingjong who wanted to kill them. Lu Jianxing knew that the matter was irreversible, and he immediately decided to leave the capital with the 3 of them. Just after Shen Lian packed up, he met Miao Tong, who came to his house, and Miao Tong actually wanted him to help rescue Master Yan from the prison. Shen Lian had already fallen in love with Miao Tong, and he hesitated again and again, but still agreed. After bribing the guards, Shen Lian untied Master Yan. But in front of the murderer of his father, Master Yan did not appreciate it. Shen Lian had no choice but to send the dying Master Yan away. Shen Lian came to Nuanxiang Pavilion, and he immediately redeemed Miao Tong and took her away without explaining. But after hearing that Master Yan was dead, Miao Tong, who was disheartened, finally told the truth. The reason why she had always been cold to Chen Lian was because it was Chen Lian who sent her to Nuanxiang Pavilion when she was still a little girl. Fate played tricks on people, and Chen Lian was speechless for a while. Just as they were silent, a group of assassins suddenly attacked. In order to protect Miao Tong, Chen Lian used all his skills. And the assassins died in an instant under the Xiuchun knife. He found Miao Tong as soon as possible, but Miao Tong was as disappointed as death, and was still unwilling to go with him. And just as the 2 of them were entangled, Zhao Jingjong appeared beside them with a spear in his hand. At this time, a battle between the 2 of them was inevitable. An angry Shen Lian stepped forward and swung his knife, but was easily blocked by Zhao Jingjong, and he himself was hit hard by several sticks. Zhao Jingjong was still arrogant, and all he could see in his eyes was murderous intent. Zhao Jingjong attacked Miao Tong, but at the critical moment, Shen Lian appeared in time, blocked the gun, and successfully saved Miao Tong. Zhao Jingjong was knocked out of the door by Shen Lian, and he was kicked again after he stood up. He rolled down the stairs and fainted. At the same time, Jin Yichuan sneaked into the clinic. He wanted to say goodbye to his beloved, but he found that the owner of the clinic had been brutally murdered, and even his beloved was brutally ravaged. Jin Yichuan was heartbroken at this time. Seeing his senior brother's crazy look, he immediately drew his sword. Jin Yichuan rushed forward, but was firmly suppressed by Ding Shu. No matter how he attacked, he could not hurt him at all. Soon, he was beaten by Ding Shu and vomited blood. Feeling the severe pain in his chest, Jin Yichuan went completely crazy. He used all his life's knowledge and swung his sword with the force of thunder, leaving a deep blood mark on Ding Shu's face. Ding Shu saw Jin Yichuan approaching again, and he was frightened and stopped holding back. After dozens of moves, Jin Yichuan, who was seriously ill, was finally defeated. He lay on the ground without the strength to fight back. Seeing this, Ding Shu wanted to end his life, but at this time, 2 assassins in black rushed out from the roof. Unexpectedly, Jin Yichuan pushed his senior brother away, and he was shot in the abdomen by a musket. When Shen Lian arrived, he could no longer breathe, and Lu Jianxing had no intention of leaving. He put on a brand new official uniform of 100 households and planned to go to the Zhenfusi Yamen alone. In front of the emperor, he took all the crimes on himself. He knew in his heart that only by doing this could he save his 2 brothers. So Lu Jianxing was beheaded, and Zhao Jingjong, who was afraid of being exposed, found Wei Zhongxian and burned him to death in a fire. 2 months later, Zhao Jingjong secretly left Beijing and rushed to the outside of the pass, and then did the work of a traitor. He saw 2 cavalrymen coming from behind, and they were Shen Lian and Ding Shu. Zhao Jingjong's hairstyle had also changed, and he spoke fluent Mongolian. Seeing this, Ding Shu on the side immediately urged his horse to rush up. Although he was a sinister and cunning person, he hated traitors. The Jin soldiers fired thousands of arrows, and Ding Shu fell off his horse in an instant. He was reckless and murderous at the moment. He was not afraid of the Jin cavalry, which was dozens of times larger than him. On the other side, Shen Lian also stood opposite Zhao Jingjong. He brought 3 kinds of weapons with him to chase Zhao Jingjong, namely Lu Jianxing's Yanqi Dao, Jin Yichuan's double short swords, and his own Shu Chun Dao. Lu Jianxing and Jin Yichuan both died because of Zhao Jingjong, and this was his way of revenge. But he was obviously not Zhao Jingjong's opponent. Zhao Jingjong, who was sure of victory, did not notice that Shen Lian secretly pulled out his own Shu Chun Dao when he retreated. After Shen Lian grabbed his collar, he pierced Zhao Jingzhang's heart with one move. When he fell to the ground, he found that under Ding Shu's sword, none of the cavalry survived. After the battle, the two smiled at each other. Finally, they went to Suzhou to find Miao Tong. The film ends here. Thank you for watching.